Welcome to my channel and this video on scenery making. Unlike many such videos, this is targeted at the specific scenery I've made to go with my 3mm miniature models, which I use with the game A Fistful of Toes 3. You can see more about this game on a range of my other videos. My name is Richard and this is Miniature Wargaming New Zealand. The scenery visible here, as an example, includes, from the lower part of the image, heavy woods in the lower left, a hill with ridge lines, including a ridge extending off the hill, a field with a hedge, a town with a river running through it, and further back another town, more hills, fields, and roads. Here's another similar scene with an autobahn in the middle distance and some forests, the very dark green. Finally, what autobahn is complete without free-flowing interchanges and exits or off-ramps? Putting it all together along with the 3mm miniatures, the towns give a flat base to balance miniatures on. A bridge over the river can be modelled, the hills give the illusion of elevation, even some of the forests have looking tracks represented. First up, my town sectors. Second only to the Cloverleaf motorway junction, these were the genesis of the entire project. Once I worked these out, I then had to match them with other terrain types. As part of my experimenting, I began collecting styrene, a kind of soft plastic, technically collapsed polystyrene, selecting 1mm thick sheet for the base and a variety of rectangular cross-section strips for the model buildings. Finding 3D paint, basically a liquid vinyl emulsion, this would make do for roads and for hedges by simply adjusting the angle of the tube to the base. Fixing these individual bases to a spare piece of flat styrene and applying a thin layer of polyvinyl acetate, PVA or workers glue, around the edges of the base to ensure they're sealed. I then created a bund of Klean Klay, polymeric clay that doesn't dry out. This forms the walls ahead of pouring the moulds. They needed to be high enough to ensure the mould covered the model. Building a bund around the town sector models, making sure the walls were smoothed into one another and to the base to keep a good seal, I then prepared the silicone mould. The moulding material was a 2-part mixture. This needed to be measured precisely, and I used digital scales to assist. With only a limited working time, I needed to ensure I was ready with all the tools and equipment and could go straight to the pour. Making the silicone moulding compound in small batches, I progressively poured the mould for each town sector, making another batch if I ran out. Finally, I had my town sectors in both 1.5-inch square and half-width sizes. These were being made to fit with Spearhead, an operational level miniatures wargame with fixed size town sectors, 3-inch square. My intent was to allow for half ground scale Spearhead, or allow for 2x2 sectors to give the 3-inch square town sectors. Once cured, these moulds could be used to turn out 2-part urethane castings with quick demould times, allowing me to make many town sectors in a short time. Making the autobahn interchanges, I built up flyovers and off-ramps, backfilling cavities with Klean Klay. Due to the size of these bases, I used a spare sheet of glass I had to hand, and used a mixture of Klean Klay and wooden ice block sticks to form the bunds. As you can see, I needed a spirit level to ensure the glass was level, using my wargaming rules as shims. Finally, these moulds got poured. For my initial rivers, I used the same 1mm thick styrene sheet, painting them the same base colour, adding the vinyl paint, and then carefully flocking them using watered down PVA glue and fine woodland scenic flock. In some cases I added bushes to represent wooded river edges. Here's some partly completed fields showing the thicker application of the vinyl paint. And here are the various stages of my ice block stick roads, with thinner application of vinyl paint for roads. Finally, hills. I found some DIY coasters and placemats at a local craft store, imported from the West Island. Thinner than much of the medium density fiberboard around, I decided these gave me the generic shapes I wanted without too much tabletop elevation or weight, although the number of different shapes did grow over time. These were painted and flocked the same green, and green painted florist's wire was cut and superglued at strategic points to represent ridge lines. Finally, it's all put together on the tabletop to produce a mix of terrain types to play a miniatures game over, giving me the ability to represent the dense urban environment of the 1970s and 80s West Germany, with well-developed road networks, forested or wooded ridgelines, river valleys, and fields. Thanks for watching to the end. You've been watching Miniature Wargaming New Zealand, and how I've made some of my scenery for A Fistful of Toes 3, but equally suitable for other similar games. I hope you've enjoyed the review of my scenery making, and it inspires you in your own endeavours. See you in the next video. Check out my channel and playlists. Please feel free to comment or ask a question. Don't forget to subscribe to see more, and choose the notification bell to be advised when I upload a new video.